Hi makers, welcome to my channel. This is Sierra with Sierra's Crafty Creations, and today we're going to be doing a crochet tutorial on how to make this fun summer crop top. This is my Carolina crop top. That's what the back looks like for you guys. Now let's go ahead and jump into the materials that you're going to need to make a crop top. Alright friends, now I'm going to jump into all the materials that you're going to need for this crop top. First up is a yarn. I'm using a size 4 100% cotton yarn. This is Loops and Thread Cream of Cotton size 4. This yarn can be found at Michael's, but you can use any size 4 cotton or cotton blend yarn that you'd like. And then you are going to need a size 7 or 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. The one that I'm using in today's video is a beautiful handmade mermaid tail crochet hook, handcrafted by one of my friends, Angie from Harper Baby Hooks. I will tag her below. And then you'll need a pair of scissors and a yarn needle. And you'll also need one stitch marker. This cute Yarn Love one is by Taylor Lynn Designs on Etsy. I will also tag her below as well. And then a tape measure. And that is it for materials. And here's a list of all the crochet stitches that we'll be using in this pattern. We'll be using chain, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. And next I wanted to show you the size chart for this. So we have extra small up to 4XL, and it has the chest measurements and the yarn yardage that you will need for each size. So if you want to go ahead and pause and write this down for the size that you want to make. Now if you're ready, let's go ahead and grab our yarn and our crochet hook and get started on this crop top. So first up, you're going to want to create a slip knot. You're going to grab your hook and insert it through that loop there and pull downward to tighten the loop around your hook. And we're going to start with our beginning chain. Now every size beginning chain is going to be different, but this is how you chain. You're going to drape your yarn over your hook and pull through, and that creates one chain. So again, you're going to yarn over your hook and pull through the loop there, and that's chain 2. So you'll keep doing this until you have the correct number of chains, and every size will be different. I will throw up a graphic for each chain count for every size. And here are the numbers for how many chains you should do for each size. In this video, I'm creating the extra small size, so I will be chaining 67. And once you have the correct number of chains, we're going to go ahead and get started on row 1, and we'll be doing half double crochets in this row. To do a half double crochet, you're going to yarn over your crochet hook, and we're going to be working in that second loop from our hook. Insert your hook, and you're going to grab the yarn from the back and pull it through that chain, and now you'll have 3 loops on your hook. Now we're going to yarn over the hook again and pull through all 3 of those loops, and that is a half double crochet. So yarn over your hook and insert into the very next chain. Grab your yarn, pull through the chain, and you'll have those 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And we're going to keep doing that all the way across our chain, putting a half double crochet in every stitch across. So for my extra small size, I started with a chain of 67. So for this row, I'll have a total of 66 half double crochets. So you're going to have 1 less than your starting chain since we started in the second chain. And once we reach the end, I just wanted to show you by the starting point, this is going to be your last half double crochet, and I just don't want you to miss it. It's always a good idea to count your stitches after the end of each row to make sure that you are on track. So that is our first row of half double crochets. We're going to move on to our second row. We're going to chain 1, which you're going to wrap your yarn around your hook and pull through the loop, and that's a chain. And we're going to turn our work, and we're going to create another row of half double crochets, but the beginning is going to be a little bit different on this one. So to start, we're going to create a half double crochet in the very first stitch, which is yarning over your hook, and we're going to go right there in that very first stitch. So yarn over your hook, insert into your stitch, grab your yarn and pull through. You'll have those 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3 of those, and that's your first half double crochet. And now we're going to chain 1 and then skip 1. So to chain 1, you're going to yarn over your hook and pull through the loop there, and that is going to be your chain 1, and we're going to skip 1 and then work a half double crochet in the very next stitch. So you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And this chain 1 space is going to be for the back of your crop tops where we can put our lace and stitch it up in the back for our closing. So that's why we want the holes there. But now we're going to place a half double crochet in every stitch across until we come to the very last 3 stitches in our row. So again, insert your hook, grab yarn, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3, and create those half double crochets all the way across, and I will meet you when we get to the last 3 stitches of our row. Alright, we've come to the last 3 here, so we're going to put a half double crochet in this one here. So we're going to put a half double crochet, and then just like at the beginning, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to place a half double crochet in the last stitch. So we're going to skip that second stitch there and put a half double crochet at the very end. That way our beginning and the end of this row have that space right there for the back of our crop top. Alright, so we are going to chain 1 and turn, and we are going to get started on row 3. For row 3, we're going to be doing half double crochets again. So we're going to place a half double crochet in this very first stitch here. So we're going to insert our hook into the very first stitch, grab our yarn, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3, and then for the chain 1 space, we're going to create a half double crochet in the chain 1 space. So we're going to go under that little bar there, insert our hook, and complete our half double crochet as normal. And then we're going to place a half double crochet in each stitch across, going all the way until the end. And I wanted to meet you back at the end of the row just to show you that chain 1 space again. So we're going to insert our hook in the chain 1 space underneath the little bar there. We're going to insert our hook, grab our yarn, and then complete our half double crochet as normal. And don't forget to put a half double crochet in that very last stitch. And now we're going to move on to row 4. We're going to chain 1. So we're going to take our yarn over our hook and pull through the loop there to create a chain 1 and turn our work. Now for row 4, we're going to half double crochet in every single stitch across. So just like our other rows, we're going to yarn over our hook, insert into that very first stitch, and create a half double crochet. And we'll keep placing a half double crochet in every single stitch all the way across our. And at the end of row 4, again, just wanted to show you the very last stitch here and making sure that you're not missing it. And now we are ready to get started on row 5. You're going to chain 1 and turn your work. And for this row, we'll be repeating the same thing we just did in row 4, so a half double crochet in every single stitch across. Now that we've finished row 5, we're going to chain 1 and turn and start on row 6, which is actually going to be a repeat of row 2, which is where we created that hole, that chain 1 space. So this is going to be a repeat of that row. So we are going to start with a half double crochet in the very first stitch. Then we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip that stitch and then half double crochet in the stitch right beside it. And then we're going to continue creating a half double crochet in every stitch across until the last 3 stitches of the row. Alright, and we are at the end of row 6 on those last 3 stitches. We're going to half double crochet in the next, chain 1, and then we're going to place a half double crochet in the very last. So we're going to skip that stitch and put a half double crochet in the very last stitch there, and that completes row 6. And then we're going to chain 1 and turn, and this is going to be row 7, which is going to be a repeat of row 3. So we're going to half double crochet in the very first stitch, and then we're going to half double crochet in the chain 1 space. So insert your hook in that space right underneath that little bar there and complete your half double crochet as normal, and then a half double crochet in every stitch across. And you're going to do the same thing when you get to the end of putting a half double crochet in that chain 1 space. So you're actually just going to keep repeating these rows until you reach the length that you need, and this can be as long as you want it. but I will go ahead and put a graphic up of the length that I think for each size should be. So I'm creating the extra small, so mine should reach until it goes to 13 inches, and then we'll move on to the next section of the crop top. But I'll go ahead and insert that graphic of what your length should be and how many rows it should take for you to get there for each size. Alright, and here's a breakdown of all of the repeats that you should be doing for each size and the approximate length that it should be. But this is a crop top. You can totally make it as long or as short as you want it. This is the body or the band below the chest. So make it as long as you want, or you can follow the repeats that I have here, but we're going to keep repeating rows 2 through 5, and then we are going to go ahead and move on to the mesh outline. Alright guys, and before we get started on our next section, I just wanted to say, since we're all doing different sizes, our row counts are going to be different. So I just wanted to give you a reminder that you want to be placing those chain one space holes at the beginning and end of every 4th row. So keep that in mind when going forward with the next section of the patterns. Again, since we are doing different sizes, when I do my chain one spaces, it might be different than when you need to do your chain one spaces. So just make sure you're doing the repeat of the chain one, skip one, half double crochet in the next at the beginning and end of every 4th row. So you should have 3 half double crochet rows in between each of those, even going into the mesh section, which we are going to be doing next. And once you reach the length that you want for the body portion, we're going to go ahead and move on to the mesh outline of the top. And so this is going to be for your chest and going up towards the straps. So to start that, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And we're going to create a half double crochet in the very first 30 stitches for the extra small. And again, I'll throw up a graphic to show you what stitch you should put it in for each size, and this is where you're going to want to grab your stitch marker. Here's the breakdown of the stitch count for each size. So for the extra small that I'm making, I'm going to count until 30 stitches and then put my place marker, small 33 stitches, and so forth. So find the size that you're making, and that stitch count is where you're going to place your stitch marker. Alright, so once you place your stitch marker in the right stitch, you're going to create a half double crochet in every stitch, and you're going to put a half double crochet in the same stitch that you put your stitch marker, and then we will go ahead and go towards the next step in this row. And here I am coming up on my stitch marker, so I'm going to take my stitch marker out and place my last half double crochet in that stitch. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to our first little mesh portion. And to create that, you're going to chain 3, and then we're going to skip 2 stitches. So we're going to skip this one and that one, and we're going to place a single crochet in the next stitch. So you're going to insert your hook, grab your yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops, and that is a single crochet. And we're going to repeat that. So we're going to chain 3 again. So we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through for a chain 3. Skip those 2 stitches, and this time we're going to place a half double crochet in that next stitch. And this is going to indicate the middle of the front of your crop top, and that's where our mesh is going to begin, right there in those 2. And now we're going to create a half double crochet in the remaining stitches. And this is what the first row of our mesh outline looks like. This right here is the very middle of our top, so this is going to be the front middle of our crop top. So let's go ahead and get started on row 2. You're going to chain 1 and turn and start with a half double crochet in the first stitch, and you're going to half double crochet in each stitch until we come to our chain 3 space. The stitch right before that is where we're going to place our stitch marker. And so you're going to go ahead, grab your stitch marker and place it in the stitch right before your chain 3 space. And we're going to continue doing half double crochets in each stitch until we reach our stitch marker. And once we've reached our stitch marker, we are going to go ahead and create more portions of our mesh section. So you can take your stitch marker out, and we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to place a single crochet around that very first chain 3 space. So we're going to skip that stitch and then single crochet around that chain 3. So just put it in the middle there, insert your hook, and create a single crochet right there in your chain 3 space from your previous row. And then we're going to chain 3 again. And we're going to place a single crochet around the next chain 3 space from our previous row. So we're going to insert our hook there in that chain 3 space and create a single crochet. And then we'll be ending right here with another chain 3. So we're going to chain 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to skip that stitch and we're going to half double crochet in the next one. And then we're going to place a half double crochet in every stitch across. Alright, and to start row 3 of the mesh outline, you're going to chain 1 and turn. And just like I mentioned before, you want to make sure that you're doing your half double crochet in the first stitch, chain 1, skip 1, and half double crochet to create that chain 1 space every 4th row. For me, this is going to be in this row, but since we're all making different sizes and different lengths of tops, you want to make sure that you're just keeping track of this on your own, and every 4th row you're doing this where you're chain 1, skipping 1 at the very beginning and end of your row. Alright, but now to continue on with the regular part of this row, we are going to grab our stitch marker and place it in the very first stitch before our chain 3 in our mesh section. So go ahead and grab your stitch marker, place it there, and you're going to create a half double crochet in every stitch leading up to your stitch marker. And once we reach our stitch marker, we're going to go ahead and you can take it out or leave it in, and we're going to chain 3 and start on our mesh section. So just like last time, we're going to put a single crochet around that chain 3 space from the previous row, chain 3, move over to the next chain 3 space, insert our hook and create a single crochet, chain 3, insert our hook into the next chain 3 space from the previous row and create a single crochet. And to end our mesh, we're going to chain 3, skip the first stitch after, and place a half double crochet in the next. And then you'll place a half double crochet in each stitch across. And again, if you need to do the chain 1 space at the end, make sure that you're doing that. But this is what our mesh section should look like right now. And here's what our crop top is going to look like after row 3 of the mesh section. As you can see, it's already starting to take its shape of a triangle there in the middle, and I'm just stretching it out so you can see what the mesh will look like once it's being worn, because the yarn will stretch a little bit once it's on. But here is a chart of the mesh stitches, and you can see the triangle shape that it will take, and that's going to start in the middle and work its way up. Moving on to row 4, you're going to chain 1 and turn and place a half double crochet in every stitch until 1 stitch before your chain 3 space. You can use your stitch marker, or if you are able to do it without it, totally fine. Just you want to make sure that you're keeping in mind we are going to stop at the stitch right before our chain 3 space. So you're going to grab your stitch marker if you want to. That way it's always a good reminder so you don't forget. You can place it there, and then you'll do a half double crochet in each stitch leading up to your stitch marker. And just like the other rows in the mesh section, once we get to our stitch marker, we can take it off, and then we are going to skip that stitch, chain 3, and we're going to place a single crochet around the very first chain 3 space from our previous row. So insert your hook under that chain 3 space there, grab your yarn, pull up, yarn over, and pull through both, creating your single crochet. And you'll repeat that across for your mesh section. So you're going to be chaining 3, placing a single crochet around the next chain 3 space from the previous row, chain 3, go to the next chain 3 space, place a single crochet around that, chain 3, place a single crochet in the last chain 3 space there, chain 3, skip 1 stitch, and place a half double crochet in the very next. And then you'll place a half double crochet in each stitch across. And this is what the mesh section is looking like now. And if you can tell by the pattern, each time we do a mesh row, you're going to add an extra chain 3 space. And for every size, you're going to keep repeating the last row that we did until you have a total of 11 mesh rows. We just completed row 4, so keep going until you have a total of 11. And once you've made your 11 rows of the mesh section, this is what it will look like for you guys. You'll start seeing that V shape take place. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to the strap section of our crop top. And to do that, for every size for the first row, we're going to chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch until we're 7 stitches away. So grab your stitch marker and count 7 stitches from your chain 3 space. And once you do that, place your stitch marker there in the 7th stitch. And to start row 1 of our straps, we are chaining 1 and single crocheting in every stitch in space until our stitch marker. So create a single crochet in the very first stitch. If you're like me and have the chain 1 space, insert your hook and create your single crochet around your chain 1 space, and keep going until we reach our stitch marker. And now that we've moved on to the strap section of our crop top, we are no longer needing to do the chain 1 space every 4th row. So now that we are in the straps, you can go ahead and just follow what I'm doing on screen, and you don't have to worry about doing that every 4th row. So this part that we single crocheted to, that's going to be the back of our crop top. So once we reach our stitch marker, we're going to go ahead and take that out. And we're going to place a half double crochet in the first 6 stitches. So we're going to half double crochet until we get to the first stitch away from our chain 3 space. And then we are going to place our stitch marker back into that very first half double crochet stitch that we made, and this is just going to help us know when to start our next row, since this part is supposed to be left unworked. So we're going to go ahead and continue with our mesh portion as we normally do. So we're going to chain 3 and a single crochet around the very first chain 3 space, and keep going as we normally do for the mesh section with chain 3 and single crochet around the next chain 3 space, and keep doing that until we reach the end of our mesh section. At the end of our mesh section, we're going to chain 3 and we're going to half double crochet. We're going to skip 1 stitch and half double crochet in the next, just like we normally would, but we're only going to be placing 6 half double crochets total across. And once you reach your 6 half double crochets, we're actually going to leave the rest of those completely unworked, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the next rows. So all that, you're just going to leave it unworked, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the next row of our straps. So we're going to chain 1 and then turn our work, and we're going to be placing a half double crochet in every stitch until the very first stitch before our chain 3 space. So you're going to half double crochet in those first 5 stitches, and then we're going to continue to our mesh section, and that's going to be as normal. You're going to chain 3, skip that first one right before the chain 3 space, and create a single crochet around that very first chain 3 space, and keep going until we reach the end of our mesh section. And once we come to the end of the mesh, we're going to end like we normally do, where we're going to chain 3, skip the next stitch, and then half double crochet in the next. But this time we'll only be doing 5 half double crochets because we're doing the strap, so it's going to be much shorter rows here. So you're going to create your 5 half double crochets. And I just wanted to show you this little bit here, those 5 half double crochets. That's going to be our straps, and those are going to go up, and we're going to have 2 straps, one on each side, and then this extra on the side is going to go fold towards the back. So let's go ahead and get started on the next row. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and it's going to be repeating just like the other rows. So we're going to half double crochet in each stitch and across until we get to 1 stitch before our chain 3 space. So now we will have 4 stitches here. Then we're going to chain 3 and do our mesh section as normal. So single crochet around the first chain 3 space from the previous row, chain 3, single crochet around the next, and keep going until the end of our mesh section. And to end our mesh section, we have our chain 3, and then we'll half double crochet 4 half double crochets across there. And then that is going to end our row. And we're going to chain 1 and turn and start our next row. And this, again, these are going to be the straps, so they're going to be much thinner. So we're going to create a half double crochet in the first 3 stitches, and then we're going to move into our mesh section, which is chain 3 and single crochet around the first chain 3 space from the previous row, chain 3, move on to the second, and again keep going until the end of our mesh section. Alright, now that we're finished with that last row, you're going to have those 3 half double crochets to end your row. And to start the next one, we're actually going to be chaining 3 to start. And we're just going to jump right into creating mesh for this section. So no more half double crochets at the beginning. We're just going to skip those half double crochets and place a single crochet around that very first chain 3 space. And we're going to keep going as normal like we would with the mesh section. So we'll be chaining 3 and single crocheting around the next chain 3 space. And you'll keep repeating that until the end, and I'll meet you at the end of the row to show you how to end it. Once you've made it across, we're going to end it with a chain 3, and we're going to skip those 2 half double crochets and place a single crochet in that very last stitch there, and that is how we're going to end the row. So it is mesh all the way across, no half double crochets in this row, and then we're going to go ahead and move on to our next row. So we're going to chain 3 and then turn our work. And for this row, it will be a repeat where we're going to do mesh all the way across. So you're going to single crochet in that very first chain 3 space. And then you'll chain 3 and single crochet in the next chain 3 space, and keep doing that all the way across, ending your row. And to end, we're going to chain 3 and place a single crochet in that very last chain 3 space, and that is going to end our row. Alright, and to start our next row, we are going to chain 3, turn our work, and now we're going to create our little straps. And to do that, every size is going to have a different number of loops across. So for my extra small size, I'm going to be doing 3. So I'm going to do the chain 3 single crochet a total of 3 times so that I have 3 loops there. And I'll go ahead and insert a graphic here going over how many loops there should be for each size. Here's the breakdown for each size. So the extra small, small, and medium, you should all have 3 of those chain spaces or 3 of the loops there. Large, extra large, and 2X, you should have 4, and 3X and 4X, you should have a total of 5. So you'll keep repeating that until you have the correct number of loops. Alright, so here's my total of 3 loops. That first one is kind of tiny, so don't forget to count that. So we have 1, 2, and 3 of my loops there, and we're going to go ahead and stop here, and we're going to move on to our next row. So the rest of it's going to be unworked, and we're going to be working on this strap here. And we're going to keep doing repeats of the 3 mesh loops there. So we're going to chain 3 to start the next row, turn our work, and like I said, you'll just be working across those 3 right there, or 4 or 5 depending on your size, and then chain 3, single crochet around the next one, chain 3, and single crochet in the last chain 3 space. And we're going to keep repeating this until we have our straps long enough. So keep repeating this row until we have a total of 18 rows for the extra small sizes, 20 rows for medium, large, and extra large, 22 rows for the 2 and 3X, and 24 rows for the 4X size. So keep repeating that until you hit that row count, and then I will meet you back to show you how to do this for your other strap. And this is how my strap looks after doing all of the rows. It's 100% mesh strap. And then, again, I'm doing the extra small size, so mine is only 3 loops wide, 3 of the chain 3 spaces wide. And we're going to finish the strap with a finishing edge. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to create a double crochet in the first stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into the very first stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and that's a double crochet. And then we'll do 2 single crochets around that chain 3 space. So there's 1 single crochet, and insert again into the same space to create your second single crochet, and then a double crochet in the next stitch. And then again, 2 single crochets around that chain 3 space. There's your first and your second single crochet in the same space. Create a double crochet in the next stitch. And we're going to end with one single crochet in the chain 3 space, that little one there at the very end. So just place 1 single crochet around that chain 3 space, and that is going to end our strap. So that just gives it a nice finishing edge so that we can sew it later. You're going to pull up about 6 to 8 inches of yarn and cut it, leaving that nice long tail, and we're going to use that to sew later. And chain 1 and pull all the way through to create a little knot to secure your end. And we're going to go ahead and work on our second strap, which is going to be on the other side of our mesh over there to the right. So we're going to attach our yarn over here on this side to create our second strap. So you're going to grab your yarn and we're going to create a slip knot. And then you're going to insert your hook on that chain 3 space on the very corner of the right side. So go ahead and insert your hook there, and then you're going to grab that yarn there from the slip knot, put it on your hook, and we're going to take that and pull it through the stitch. And we're going to take our working yarn over our hook and pull through to create a chain 1. I like to pull it tight to secure it, and then we're going to do a total of 3 more additional chains to start our row. And it's going to be a repeat of the other strap. So we're going to insert into the next chain 3 space, create a single crochet, chain 3, go to the next chain 3 space, create a single crochet around that, chain 3, and a single crochet in the next one. Again, follow the right amount of loops for your size in the graphic that I posted before. Chain 3 to start your next row and turn. And we're going to be doing the mesh across for the number of loops that you have, and you'll keep repeating that again for the same amount of rows that you did for your first strap to make sure that they're equal. And I will go ahead and meet you back when we are done with our second strap. All right, now you should have both of your straps finished, and we're going to give our finishing row to our second strap. So you're going to chain 1, double crochet in that very first stitch, 2 single crochets around that chain 3 space, double crochet in the next stitch, 2 single crochets around the chain 3 space, a double crochet in the next stitch, and then we're going to end it with 1 single crochet around the last chain 3 space. chain 1, leave 6 to 8 inches of yarn, cut it, and pull that tail all the way through, creating a knot and securing that one as well. So now we have our straps, and this is what our top is looking like now. So you can see the shaping of it. And now we're going to take our straps and we're going to grab our yarn needle and we're going to sew our straps to the back of our shirt. So to do that, we are going to take our crop top, turn it around, and the side that we have there that's left unworked, we're going to fold that in and do the same with the other side. So we're going to fold that in there. And you can see this is the back, and that's why the holes are there, so we can lace up our back of our crop top. But we're going to take our strap, fold it down, and line it up edge to edge with the back of our crop top. And you're going to grab your yarn needle and thread your yarn. And we're going to just whip stitch these two together, and we're going to line them up edge for edge just so that they're straight. And I'm going to take my needle going in and going through both sides, both the strap and the back panel. We're going to just pull through, insert, going through both of the pieces as you can see here, and just pulling the thread through. And you'll just keep doing that all the way across, and that will sew on your strap. And now we're at the end, we just want to make sure that we're getting the edges there and pulling through. And that's what your little seam will look like. And I like to wrap my yarn around and create a little knot down at the base just to secure it a little more. And then I take the tail that's still on my needle and weave it through my stitches just to hide it and secure our ends. And once you secure your ends and weave them in, you can take your scissors and cut off your excess, and that strap is done. And you'll want to go ahead and repeat that process for your other strap. So you're going to take your strap, fold it down, line it up edge for edge, and this is what the back will look like so far. So your straps will be attached, and that will kind of create the form of your crop top there. And this is the front, and that's what it'll look like with the mesh section up there and your little straps up at the top. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and finish it off by creating the chain that's going to go in those chain 1 spaces so that you can use that to tie up and tighten your top. And to do that, you're going to grab your yarn and your hook, the same yarn that you've been using, and we're going to create a slip knot. Insert our hook into the loop there, and we're just going to be creating a chain. I suggest a chain until you can wrap it around your waist a total of 2 times. So whatever that chain amount is, just keep chaining until you get that length where you can wrap it around at least twice. And once you've reached the right length for you, you can go ahead and cut your yarn. I like to make one more chain 1 and then pull that tight to create a knot there at the bottom so it doesn't come unraveled. And now we're just going to take this little chain rope that we made and we're going to thread it through those holes in the back. And this is just like you would if you were lacing up tennis shoes. So it's going to be the same type of method. So we're going to take the one end and going through the top right hole, pull that through, and then take it straight across to the top left hole and pull that through. And you want to pull it until you have about half the length on both sides, about even. And then we're going to take the left string and move it over to the second right hole and pull it through. And then take that top right one, crossing over to the left side, putting in that in the second left hole and pulling it through. And you'll keep repeating that, crisscrossing them all the way down. Alright, and this is what it will look like for you. And at the bottom, you want to take both ends and create a little bow or knot. And you can cut off the excess string at the end if you want, or leave it, whatever your preference is. And that is your finished crop top. So because of how the backing is, it's kind of like a corset type of deal. So you can make it as tight or as loose as you want it, which gives you a little extra wiggle room in the top. And the only thing left to do is weave in any of those extra ends that you have. So you're going to grab your yarn tail, thread any of those loose ends, and then you're going to weave them into your project and cut them, and then you will be completely finished with your top. I really hope you enjoyed making the Carolina crop top with me today. This is one of my favorite crop tops to wear. I like to wear it with high skirts or high-waisted shorts. But if you do make one, feel free to tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see your creations. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up and follow along on the YouTube channel for more of my crochet and knit tutorials. See you next time, guys.